Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to UJAR, Unpam Mengajar. I'm Lisa. I'm teaching basic grammar subject in English Literature Department. I'm going to share material which discusses present perfect tense. This program will be conducted in some episode, so keep watching and don't miss it. Stay tuned on Sasmita Jaya TV, berbagi untuk negeri. Before we discuss more about present perfect tense, let's see what we are going to learn in this episode. This episode covers these 5 following points. First, understand past participle. Second, use the form of the present perfect. Third, understand the meaning of the present perfect. Fourth, differentiate between simple past and present perfect. And the last one is use since and for in present perfect tense. In the previous episode, we have discussed how to tell activities happened in the future. We learned what structure we should use if we want to make sentences related to planned activities or prediction in the future. Additionally, we have discussed above the form and functions of simple future tense. Besides, we learned the difference between form of will and be going to in simple future tense. Will is used to express unplanned actions, personal opinions, and future facts. While be going to form is used to describe well-planned actions, opinions supported by evidence, and something about to happen. Finally, simple future tense is also supported by time signals like soon, tomorrow, this afternoon, tomorrow morning, in a few minutes, tonight, in a few days, next Monday, next year, and many more. These time signals showing future actions and emphasize the time when the actions occurred. From the last episode, we know that in simple future tense, we are only permitted to use simple verb or verb 1. We may not use s or es at the end of the verb. We may not add d or ed and also ing at the end of the verb if the sentence is active. This material has enriched your knowledge about tenses, and I hope you will always remember on how to form sentences in future tense and when to use it. After knowing about this tense, aren't you more curious about other tenses? Let's learn more from the material in this episode. After learning how to make and use sentences to tell about activities happened in the future, probably you question, how if we want to tell about activities which happened and ended in an unspecified time in the past? Or how if the activity started in the past and still continued at the present time? For example, saya sudah makan es pisang hijau beberapa kali. Kami sudah pernah mengunjungi Bali. Mereka sudah kuliah di Unpam selama 2 tahun. Linda tinggal di Pamulang sejak 2010. These sentences have the context I have mentioned before. And the tenses that we have to use to express these kinds of sentences is present perfect tense. There are some who are still confused about how to use this tense appropriately. Moreover, misappropriate usage of tenses can lead to misunderstanding. What about you? If you feel so, don't worry, because that is what we are going to discuss in this program. So don't miss it. Welcome back to our program. Let's start today's material about present perfect tense. It's different from Bahasa Indonesia. English has various tenses with various kinds of verbs too. In simple present tense, we use simple verb or verb 1. In present progressive tense, we use auxiliary plus present participle or verb ing. In simple past tense, we use past verb or verb 2. In future tense, we use will or going to plus verb 1. Then, what kind of verb we have to use in present perfect tense? As you can see here, the verbs in green and blue letters are past participle verbs and inactive sentence. They are used in present perfect tense. So, please keep this in your mind that present perfect tense uses past participle or verbs 3 in its form. There are various tenses in English which have various structure and usage. One of them is present perfect tense. To be able to use this tense appropriately, understanding its structure and usage is essential. Let's start with discussing the structure of present perfect tense. As many other sentence structures, present perfect tense can be used in statement, negative, or interrogative form. In statement, the sentence started with subject, verb, and object or complement if it is needed. The compulsory components are subject and verb, as any other kinds of sentences. As we know, forms of verb in English are varied. They are basic verbs or verb 1, past verb or verb 2, past participles or verb 3, and present verb or verb ing. In present perfect tense, we use past participle or verb 3, and this is very important to be remembered. Let's see the example of present perfect tense. I have worked very hard this year. The students have worked hard. Alex has worked very hard. Then, in negative sentence, we have to start with subject followed by haven't or hasn't, and verb 3 plus object or complement if it is necessary. For example, I haven't gone home yet. Fatima hasn't gone home. Meanwhile, in interrogative sentence, we don't start with subject as in statement and negative sentence. For example, has Mercy gone home? In interrogative sentence, we start the sentence with have or has, followed by subject and verb 3, then object or complement if it is necessary. When we need to make interrogative sentence using WH questions like what, when, why, who, whose, how, and other question words, just put them before have or has in the interrogative sentence. For example, how long have you worked there? Then, how to decide whether the sentence should use have or has, haven't or hasn't? It depends on the subject used in the sentence. Has or hasn't is used for she, he, it, and singular subjects such as my mother, your friend, the teacher, the cat, and so on and so forth. have, or haven't is used for you, they, we, and plural subjects such as my parents, your friends, the teachers, the cats, and so on and so forth. In the previous session, we have discussed about the structure of present perfect tense using main verb. Now, the discussion focuses on how to make sentences that do not have main verbs. For example, Rina sudah berada di Surabaya. Cindy belum menjadi dokter. Apakah mereka sudah berada di rumah sakit? The sentences I have mentioned before are different from the following sentences. Rina telah belajar tata bahasa Inggris. Cindy tidak pergi ke rumah sakit semalam. Apakah mereka akan bertemu dengan teman-teman mereka? These sentences have main verb, belajar or study, pergi or go, and bertemu or meet. So how if the sentences do not contain main verbs? In present perfect tense context, we need been so that we can create grammatical sentences. Similar to the sentences followed by main verb, simple present tense sentences followed by auxiliary also have statement, negative, and interrogative form. In statement, the sentence started with subject, have or has, been, an adjective or profession, or adverb of places or nouns. For example, Rina has been happy. Rina sudah bahagia. In negative form, the sentence started with subject, have or has, not, been, and adjectives or professions, or adverb of places or nouns. For example, Cindy has not been a doctor. Cindy belum menjadi dokter. Meanwhile, in interrogative form, the sentence started with have or has, subject, been, and adjective or profession, adverb of places or noun. For example, have they been at the hospital? Apakah mereka telah berada di rumah sakit? Of course, in interrogative sentence, we may add WH questions depending on the kinds of information we want to get from the listeners or readers. For example, how long have they been at the hospital? Berapa lama mereka telah berada di rumah sakit? One of the most important things in learning English tenses is knowing when one tense is used and when another is used. By knowing this, we can decide what tense we have to use in various contexts of time and situation. Here, we are going to discuss in what situation and what context present perfect tense is used. First, present perfect tense is used to express some activities which happened in the past time at an unspecified time. What does it mean? It means that this tense doesn't mention the time the activities happened. It concerns on the fact that the activities have done in the past time without mentioning the time that happened. For example, Tyler has already taken his first step. Tyler sudah bisa melangkah sendiri. In this sentence, it is only told that Tyler has taken his first step. He started to walk. However, the time the activity happened isn't mentioned. The next sentence example is, Zoe hasn't walked by herself yet. Zoe belum bisa berjalan sendiri. Similar to the previous sentence, this sentence also doesn't mention the time the activity happened, but in negative sentence. Next, have you ever seen zoo crawled? Apakah kamu pernah melihat zoo merangkak? This sentence also expresses something happened in the past, which doesn't mention its specific time, but in interrogative form. Here are other sentence examples which use present perfect tense structure. Mary has painted portraits many times. Her students have painted portraits twice. The sentences show that the activities are repeated, but they still happened before now, at an unspecified time in the past. They show information how often the activities happened by using many times, twice, 3 times, and so on and so forth. The second meaning of present perfect tense is that it tells a situation begun in the past and continues to the present. Actually, the sentence, "We've been working since 8 o'clock," is in present progressive tense, which will be explained in the next episode and has similar meaning to present perfect tense. The sentence, "I have played the violin for 6 years," means that I learned to play 6 years ago and I still play it until now. Even though when I tell this sentence, the activity of playing the violin is not in progress. This sentence means that I started studying English grammar since 8 o'clock. Now, it is 9 o'clock and I still study English grammar. It is similar when you say, "I have studied at Unpam since 2020. Even when you tell this on your work at office or when you meet a friend in a restaurant, you may use this structure, as long as you still study at Unpam. You haven't moved to another university or you stopped studying at Unpam. Many beginners of English learners still have difficulty in differentiating simple past and present perfect tense, because both of them are used to express situation happened in the past. Look at these examples. I live in Pamulang in 2010. I have lived in Pamulang since 2010. These two sentences look similar. However, they have a quite different meaning. The first sentence, "I lived in Pamulang in 2010, means that now I don't live in Pamulang anymore. I live in another place today. Meanwhile, the second sentence, "I have lived in Pamulang since 2010, means that I started to live in Pamulang in 2010 and I still live in Pamulang till now." Let's compare the following sentences. The first sentence is, "I studied at Unpam in 2007. Let's discuss the meaning of this sentence. This year is 2022, and in 2007, I was still registered as Unpam student, but now I'm not. It happened in the past, and the activity is not continued. I finished my study at Unpam." The next sentence is, "I have ever studied at Unpam before studying at BINUS." This means that at an unspecified time in the past, I studied at Unpam. But I didn't continue my study and I decided to move to another university. The last sentence is, "I have studied at Unpam since 2021. It means that I started my study in 2021 and now in 2022 I still study at Unpam. Based on the sentence examples given, I'm pretty sure that you notice words since and for often appears like in this sentence. I have been here since 6 o'clock. Probably you are questioning, what are they for? Let's discuss about them. In Bahasa Indonesia, since means sejak. It is used to tell about specific point of time, and it is followed by words which show time such as since noon, since Wednesday, since April, since 2006, since May 2007, since yesterday, since last week, and so on and so forth. We need to notice that since and for are only used in present perfect tense, whether it is in simple or progressive form. Please pay attention to the following sentences. They contain some errors in since and for usage. I have studied English since 2007. I have used a computer since 2007. These sentences are correct because since is used with present perfect structure. However, in these sentences, the usage of since is incorrect. I'm studying English since 2007. I study English since 2007. Since may not be used in present progressive tense and simple present tense. In simple past tense, since cannot also be used like in this sentence. I studied English since 2007. From the following sentences, we know that since can be followed by a clause. I have known her since I was 15. Jim has played many sports since he tried soccer. We need to remember that after since, the structure must be in simple past tense. Then, how about the usage of for? For is used to show the length of time, such as for 50 minutes, for 5 hours, for 10 days, for about 6 weeks, for almost 2 months, for many years, for a long time, and so on and so forth. Look at this sentence. I have worked for 12 years. It means that I got a job here 12 years ago and I still have it. How long I have been working? 12 years. Now, let's see this sentence. I played sport for 15 years. I'm too busy now. This means in the past time, I played sports. But now, because I'm too busy, I don't play sport anymore. After watching the explanation about present perfect tense, what do you think? I really hope that the explanation can help you to get better understanding about the material that we have discussed. Now, let's see your comprehension on the material given. Can you arrange these words provided into a complete sentence with present perfect form? Excellent. Have you ever touched a snake? That is the answer. And no, I have never touched a snake. Don't forget to always use verb 3 or past participle in the sentence. Now, look at these sentences. Q has already taken the test. This sentence has meaning number 1 or number 2? Great! It has meaning number 1. It expresses something happened before now at an unspecified time in the past. Learning and using tenses properly are not as difficult as we think. The most important things are that we know the structure of the sentences and understand when we have to use those structures. Present perfect tense always uses past participle or verb tree in its structure. In negative sentence, we use haven't or hasn't, while in interrogative, the sentence preceded by have or has. When the sentences don't have main verb and followed by adjectives, professions, and adverb of places, been is used as the sentence verb or predicate. Then, when we have to use this kind of structure, we use the structure of present perfect tense when we want to tell about activities happened at an unspecified time in the past. Besides, this is used to express activities which began in the past and still continued at the present. Moreover, since and for are usually used in present perfect tense to tell when the activity started and how long the activity lasted. Now, we come to the end of this session. Confucius, a Chinese philosopher and politician whose teachings and philosophy underpin East Asian culture and society, said, "I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand." So, after watching this, please practice what you have learned and implement what you have got in your daily English conversation. Because the best way to learn a new language is by using it. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next episode. Salam UJAR. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.